Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. I
My
know
pleasure.
that a
Thank you
lot
for
of
having me.
people are really excited to hear about your journey. And what really, kind of drove me to really reach out to you and ask you to jump on is a couple things. So first off, I heard you speak live twice. But this last time when I was at High Performance Academy, you dove into your story from a different angle than you did the first time. And quite honestly, you left the audience like, at the beginning it was so impactful. And I just thought like your story is just one that I just wanted to kind of share with whenever I'm doing interviews, and especially for my podcast, I love highlighting people's stories. So my hashtag is every story matters. And I truly believe that we all have an incredible story to share with people.
Mhm.
And that, and twofold, really showing people that it's, the journey to success, whatever you deem as success, it's not this nice straight line, right? It's like messy and
No.
takes a lot of perseverance, and a lot of like a strong mindset to be able to kind of push through those tough times. And that's something that came out so greatly in your story. And then the other part is that, on the flip side, is that it is hard. And if you're hoping that your journey is just going to be like super simple and all of a sudden you're going to have like achieve all these amazing goals, it takes a lot of hard work and dedication and perseverance as well,
Mhm.
right?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So just a couple things, obviously I always like to highlight for people, depending on if they know you or this might be their first experience hearing you speak. But I loved how you said you're a foster kid turned NFL athlete into serial entrepreneur, a father of three, married. Just you wear so many hats. You do so many things. You were on American Ninja Warrior, which I think is incredible, which is awesome. International speaker, you do corporate business work. Yeah, just tell us a little bit about you and your life, your family.
Yeah. No, I will definitely. I'll give you all the goods, man. You got me like the end of my long day. I'm running on 3 hours of sleep this whole entire day. I feel like the Rock, Dwayne Johnson. Here's one thing as I'm going to say as we preface this whole thing. There is always going to be the aspect of our brain that says, "Oh, I've heard something like that." And yeah, these stories take place, and I'm promising you that's the worst place to go with this. What I do know is if you listen with new ears, just try to listen with new ears. You might hear something that could change literally everything about your life, your trajectory, just that one nugget. And I think that's how most people do stuff in terms of learning, just being open to it. My area of life now, I've played in the NFL. I have been American Ninja Warrior. I'm doing it again this year, I believe. I've owned 10,000 square foot gym, still own a gym. I consult for multiple hundreds of thousands of dollars just by teaching and coaching things I've already known. I travel the world, speak. I do a whole bunch of really cool stuff, but I don't think that defines me. It's kind of a weird thing. I think that I just do a bunch of stuff because of the way I think, and the way I think becomes, how my actions are lived. But the reason I operate how I do is because of how I was raised, or like my upbringing. And obviously, but I'll share as much as I can without going way, way deep. Is my first memory of life was being given into foster care by my mom. And it's that moment where not good enough or completely scared and lost, and like you pretty much have like those nights where it's like 4 a.m. staring at the top of your ceiling and you have those cold sweats, like what's this supposed to be? And like these are my first memories of life. I remember my mom calling my name, like where she was standing, my hand she placed in some other woman's hand, walked me to a car, and that left me in this world where I was getting starved and beaten and tortured and just a lot of weird stuff, all before the age of 6. And so at 6 years old, I ended up in a home which is my family to this day. But even then, like it wasn't amazing, and great. Like we had no money. I had a foster dad that was a drunk, used to beat me, beat my mom, like just a lot of craziness. And I realized that over the years, I try to pretty much hang in there, and that's really all you can do. You can literally just survive. Like you can try to get by. It's there's no thought of like to go after something good because everything is so bad. You're just trying to like stay alive in the moment. And so I got to the point of not even being adopted until I was 14 years old.
Oh,
And then at 14, there was like a unique thing there because I'd spent 8 years dealing with being in a foster home with a family that loved me, but we didn't have much. And things as they got better, it was scarier because imagine in a foster home, like you're just picked up and moved somewhere without being notified or anything. So every day that life got better in that household, my mom divorced that guy, remarried, like it was scary because it could all be taken away. And it's this moment of like, gosh, I want to embrace this, but I don't want to be too, embraceful, because what if it gets taken? I'm gonna have more pain.
Yeah.
So like that was a lot of my life up until 14, when I had to stand in front of, this judge. And I remember I'm in this courtroom and I'm standing at this, this, I want to call it a pew, or the stand. And I'm looking out in the audience, and I'm looking at my biological mom, my real mom, the one who had wanted her love and care for the last 14 years. And I have to look her in her eyes and say, I no longer want you to be my mother anymore. And
Wow.
it was like this really like tough thing to do at 14, but it was necessary. And when I cut that tie, I got free. Like, it was for the first time I could do something different. And so for me, like, I wanted to do everything. Like, I couldn't play sports. I couldn't travel. I couldn't do much. So I was like, I'm going to go everywhere. I went to Disneyland, and big unique things I did was something I'd wanted to do for so long, but never had the opportunity to do, because she wouldn't let me, because she had what's called parental rights. Doesn't live in a house, but says what I can and can't do. So I played football, and it was the most freeing thing, because it gave me this moment of self-worth. And that's what we seek. Like, you get to that point where you want this thing that makes you feel like this is what defines you. This is what makes you you. This makes you whole. And when you know that hey, this is me, like, it's like, oh, I can be that. I can strengthen that. I can be better at that. And so football was my thing. Problem was, I sucked. That was bad. I was like, they couldn't catch a cold. Like, I couldn't catch cold ever. So had this thing I loved. And I feel like you have something you love, or like you're passionate about, but you just can't do it. Like, no matter how hard you try, you just can't figure it out. And this is where I got. And I remember I was 15 years old. At the same time, my adoptive mom was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. My older brother went off to the military and pretty much left me stranded, because my dad was taking care of my mom, and I was like on my own. And then I'm in this thing, this football realm where I'm like, I want to play, but I'm not good. I don't feel like going out there every day and getting made fun of and looking stupid. So let's move on. I'll find something else. And this reel started playing in my head of, well, you're a foster kid. Like, you're not supposed to do anything great. You're going to end up doing whatever you do. Like, just, don't even worry about it. And this is a story in my head. And I'm sitting in an English class. And this is a moment we all get to. It's like the fight or flight. Like, you're got to make a decision. And my decision at this time was like, I'm done. And I get in this class, and I'm sitting in the back right corner. I'm sleeping with this black Parker over my head, eating a bag of Cinnamon Toast Crunch. I kid you not. This is what I was doing. And there's like a couch next to the desk, this back one, like a little love seat in this Mr. Howe's class. And people just sit back there during class. And I remember I'm sitting there half sleeping, and there's just two girls talking. I don't know them. I honestly, this day, wish I knew who they were. But one girl's talking, and all of a sudden I hear the statement. She says, well, the reason I'm so bad is because I'm in foster care. I was like, wow, like, that's not a good sounding statement. But that's what I'm telling myself, like 100% of my head. I'm like, well, the reason you're going to do this is because you're in foster care. And the reason is, you've been in foster care. Like, this is just this story, because you see it every day. And I remember, like, it confused me and like really like spun me up. And I remember going home, and I'm 15, like a 15-year-old kid. Like, and I'm in my head, I'm thinking, God, this is what I want my life to be. Like, don't want to be 30 years old someday saying, well, the reason I'm a criminal, or I have no family or whatever, is because I'm not in foster care. Like, the story I have to keep reliving. I was like, I don't want to have that be my life. I remember looking in this mirror at the edge of my bed where I used to do bicep curls for girls. As a football player, just to be honest. I looked like dead in my own eyes. Like, I looked at my pupils, I remember, and I said, you're going to be great. That simple. It was a decision. And honestly, it was just that singular decision. I had no idea what I was going to be great at. I was like, I'm going to be great. And the only thing I knew of one of two things, one was phone numbers, because I'm a school boy, and two, football. I was like, God, you know what? I'm going to try this thing at football. And here's what you have to do. You have to put in incredible amounts of effort before you'll be successful. That's the one thing that I think is so missed in many people's lives. It's like, well, I want to make sure I'm be successful so I can put my effort into it. I'll tell you right now, you can put half effort, but you're going to lose all of it. It'll be worth nothing, because everybody else who's going after that same thing is digging. And they're going to dig before they know they'll be successful, because at the end of the day, you can't guarantee you'll win, but I guarantee you're not going to win if you don't give everything. And so what I did is I started running every route I could run, lifting every single weight, and I just was getting all my work put in. And the next year I showed up to the football season, and I was a monster, like a complete different player. I was faster, stronger, meaner. Like, I was balling. And from there, life just switched. I had that same mentality that I used for football, from putting in work and then being successful at it, put in my life. And so I went and got a college football scholarship, played University of Oregon, played the NFL for 3 years, tore my shoulder, came home, opened this 9,000 square foot gym, which we'll get into all the business stuff. That's ups and downs. Almost lost it at least 3 or 4 times, almost bankrupt. I then closed it, started consulting and traveling the world and doing a whole bunch of weird, cool stuff. But I'm Ninja Warrior now. Now I speak on amazing stages for awesome people like Brandon Burchard and Pete Vargas, like these dudes that are doing some great things. All because I at one point realized that for me, there's more to my life. And the way it kind of came to be was back in 2015. It was April. I want to say it was April 15th, 2014. And I was sitting in a hospital room with my mom, my dad, my grandma, and I remember sitting there on the right-hand side of my mom, and, all our family was in town, but it was just the four of us in the room. And me and my dad and my grandma were looking up at the heart rate monitor, just watching this heart rate just kind of slowly decline. And we kind of knew it was coming, but it's like in that moment, like it goes slow. Like you're sitting here looking at these numbers thinking like, this is it? Like you just watched it. I don't even know how to recall those feelings, but it's like this weird, inescapable, like reality, like you're in it. And we just watched it decline. I remember my mom just, and that was it. Like I watched her last breath as I held her hand. And in the moment you're sitting there thinking like, God, this is life. It is that finite. And it had to me in that moment have like a really deep reflection, because it's like you're sitting in this moment with literally a dead person who was moments ago alive. And you start thinking like, what is life about? Like, what are we supposed to be doing? And like, what was her life about? Like, what did her life mean? I think we all have those moments to think like, what did your life mean? Or what is it meaning? And so when I looked back and I said, what did she do in her life? And what she did was something that honestly I could never repay. She took this kid who wasn't her blood, who, had no reason to care for, who was real bad. Like I was bad. I was a kid in class that the kids in class didn't want in the class, like amazingly bad. And she loved me through it all. Like she unconditionally loved me through it all. And I wasn't her blood. She had no reason to, but her impact on my life allowed me to play in the NFL, to travel and speak, to now at this point in my life, share my message and my ways of getting to a better place in life with people all over the world. And what I realized is we all have this level of our life. We think we're just kind of going through the motions, but we are all someone to someone. Every single person has someone looking up to them. I don't know who it is. It could be a mom, a dad, brother, or sister. Like there's someone looking up to you. And within that concept, there's a reality that you have to realize that like your life has a meaning. When you have this meaning behind it, you should push forward and go after whatever you can. Like regardless if you feel scared of it or not, like you have this ability to do something, and your job is to realize this is that someone you're impacting. And in my life, I've realized like she not only was able to show with actions how she impacted me, but she also like somehow in a weird way gave me this creepy compassion to help people. Like I love it. My wife to this day is like, why do you do so much for people? And it's not that I do it for anything more than the fact that like I love the thank yous, because growing up, I didn't have that kind of acceptance. And I'm driven by the fact that I can impact somebody's life and get the thank you that makes me feel like I still matter. It's a weird thing, but it's just the reality of Anthony. I don't think it's bad, because in doing so, I'm helping. And I realize that for me, my purpose here is to impact those who impact, which is literally everybody. And so in my life now, I have a company called Trust Your Hustle, and I teach people how to trust your hustle, to go from that place like I was of surviving to now thriving in my life, in my marriage, and my multiple businesses, and my health, and like in how I teach people stuff. To me, it's just fun. It's weird, but it's fun helping somebody like see a little like problem with just a tilt of a new perspective, and like, oh, I see now. And literally my 3 stages are see, sacrifice, sustain. And once somebody can see this little difference, like you can see what was holding you back and what was like slowing you down. Once you see that, the next thing is, okay, cool. I saw what was holding me back. Now what can I remove that? What can I see up on top of that mountain that I can go after now? Like what area can I really pursue? And then it's a matter of like sacrificing. The next stage is sacrifice. You have to give up who you are for who you're going to become. It's somewhere you've really got to step back. It's okay. Now that I can see this stuff, God, what do I got to give up? Or what have I been giving up that I shouldn't have been giving up? There's 2 types of sacrifice. And so once you're able to stop sacrificing the bad stuff, relationships and health and that kind of stuff, and start sacrificing the good stuff, comfort zone, ego, wasted time watching television, reading news, like that kind of stuff. When you can stop doing that, you can actually create the life you're looking for. It's not impossible. It's tactical. You put stuff in place to get it done. And then the idea is at the end to not have it be a quick win. You don't need a fast win. They call fast money your last money. So you get to that point of getting something fast. You don't want to all of a sudden be on cloud 9, buy a new house, or you get to the store where your body is amazing. All of a sudden, you're back at the way you were before you started. You can't do that. So it's a matter of understanding how to sustain those habits, not only for the level you're at, but for the level you want to go to in the future.
Totally.
That's my spiel.
You know what? the moment, just bringing it back when you were 15 years old and you had that type of dialogue in your head, that right now, there are people out there that that I know, that I work with and I talk to, and who are stuck in their story. They've
Yeah.
defined themselves a certain way,
Yeah.
and what like a saving grace moment for you to just have recognized that at that age, and to be able to say, no, like, I'm gonna be great. And here's the thing for all of you out there, it's never too late to switch the dialogue that's in your head, or
Yeah.
to change the story, change the chapter. How do you want your book to end? You know what I mean? You're in the driver's seat of your life. And that's the power of our ability to really speak to ourselves and to say, this is how it's going to go. Even if this is how it's
Yeah.
been up until this point, right? We get to change our story whenever we want to. And I just think
Yeah, you
that's
can.
an amazing, amazing point for you.
Yeah, one of the big things you got to do in that moment when it comes like changing your story, a lot of people, they'll hear that and be like, oh, it sounds good, but I can't change. What's the story? And what a
Yeah.
reality is for us as human beings, we like to be right.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is we like to make a statement and make that statement right. So, for example, if I say I'm not smart enough to do that, well, when you come to an opportunity to actually prove that opposite, you're going to do things that make you right. So, for example, like I'm not smart enough to do that. So a test comes up. You don't study for it. You don't put that much effort into it. You fail it. See, told you.
Yeah.
Like, it's what happens in a lot of our society, to be honest, like the society that let's say the Black culture right now. There's a lot of situations where people are like, oh, cops are all negative, cops are all bad. And so what they do is they act in ways when they're interacting with them that make the cop do things that would create the same stigma they're already putting on them. Like they're being belligerent and yelling and doing craziness. And yeah, like now the cops act a certain way and see, told you they're all bad. And so it's kind of like same with our lives and our stories. If you say you're not capable, you're not smart enough, whatever it is, you're going to do actions, sometimes unconscious, that are going to make that right. So what you have to do is start saying, okay, if this is what I'm living, what's the greatest story I can make for my life? Like, what's the real like vision I have? What can I create there? And you literally write that story. Be your own J.K. Rowling. Write the story out. And then what you do is say, okay, how do I have to start living my life in a way to make this one right? This one real? And it's hard because you have to actually like reconfigure beliefs and thoughts and myths that may have been part of your like, oh, well, I've been in this job for so long that, I can't switch jobs. So I just have to keep doing this one until I retire and die. No, you don't. Like that. Why are you going to give somebody your life for a certain amount of dollars if you don't want to do it? And so it's a matter of stepping back and say, okay, what would I have to do to actually get out of this hole, the place that I'm in? And then there's a whole much more past that, but that's kind of the starting point of it.
Yeah. 100%. I mean, that's a huge, yeah, I talk about that a lot just in terms of like, I talk to so many people who they just feel stuck. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just, as Brendan puts it too, just really caged, just like they don't
Mm-hmm.
know what the next steps are. They're not clear on how they can change the course of their story. Right. And just, and that's my hope and my desire in terms of sharing people's stories too, to see like, listen, it's not always this beautiful, easy kind of road and journey, that
Yeah.
it takes a lot of sacrifice, and you had to like shift your mindset. You had every reason to not succeed, every excuse to be like, this life sucks. Do you know what I mean? And you didn't go that way, and you made a conscious choice not to go that way.
Yeah.
And do you feel like that, did that have a lot to do with you kind of, going into that, your family, like with your mom? Like, do you feel like had you not had that experience, do you know, would you have gone like another way?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's a tough one because if you like philosophically, it was supposed to happen how it happened,
Totally. Yeah.
At the same time, though, like I think that when we start approaching life, there's always going to be opportunities we can pursue. And I think that what we do is mess them up because we shun them, quiet them down, or don't pursue them. I think life is an amazing plan for us, but we mess it up. We step in our own way and say, well, if this opportunity popped up, I don't want to go do that. Like, yeah, I'm not good enough. And so we just shut things down. And it's a horrible place to be mentally because at the end of the day, like you truly at the end of the day probably are, this is not new information. Like, I want to make sure like this, you guys are not hearing anything brand new. Like if you listen right now, you're hearing something that you've heard a million times. The problem is you haven't done anything with it, or you wouldn't be where you're at. Like, if you're not in a great place. If you're doing great, share it, make more people happy. But if you're not, this is not new information, but it's get to the point where you have to step back for a moment and say, when are you going to stop accepting that you have these excuses? When do you stop being okay? And a lot of the time when people just make a decision, it's like, it sounds good that I made a choice, but to be honest, what the real thing was, I just had a bigger reason as to why I did not want to be in that place anymore. And for me, the big thing was I didn't want to have that be my story. I didn't want to have me be the guy that, well, because of foster care, this is what I did. And people hear all the time, like, you got to choose a why and find what makes you move. And I think people are looking for like their purpose and like what's going to, be their passion work forever. Like, it doesn't have to be that. It just has to be something that allows you to get up in the morning and embrace the suck. Like, there are things that I do not like doing at all. Like, I didn't like having to spend the last 3 weeks building out an entire backside business funnel and digital stuff and website design, all this craziness. It's nutso. I didn't like any of it. But what I do like is every moment of me doing it.
Not sure if I can hear you still. So while you guys oh,
Hello.
yeah, there we go.
Oh,
Awesome.
no, I'm back.
You're back.
Lost my train of thought. But let's just keep on moving.
It's all good. Here's the thing with technology, right? And it's we're at the whim.
Gotta embrace the suck. Gotta embrace the suck. It's all
embrace the suck. Exactly. It just showed us that. All right. It's like, yeah. So in terms of, so you were talking about mission, right? So it's not about just like waiting for this, like, as Brendan would say, the piano of purpose just falls onto your lap and like, boom, like there you go. Right.
Yeah.
So and I loved how you said, it's like, you just gotta like choose something that just, it's a win-win. It makes you feel good, but you're also able to kind of give back in some way. You don't have to hate every moment of your day. You don't have to be in a job that you wake up and like, if you're waking up every day just being like, oh, I hate my life, or going to bed and just being like, something has to shift. Like, what's going to be that moment that you're going to be like, it doesn't have to be like this, because it doesn't.
No, it doesn't. You have to, what I tell people is it's like a road. It's a road you got to walk, and you got to get out of your chair, because again, the piano purpose is not going to fall on your face. You got to get up and start walking this road. And in the road you're going to walk, so you have a lot of potholes. But at the end of this road, your passion's there, purpose is there.
Yeah.
At the end of this road where your purpose is, it's kind of like this thing everybody's searching for. But I think people will never reach the actual purpose if they haven't chased some passions. And so when people start asking, well, I'm in this place and what's the first thing I got to do? Well, the first thing is, what are you passionate about? What lights you up? And what do you think you can't do because, it's just a passion of mine? And so what you do is you become the weirdo and you find out, hey, this is a passion that I have, and I'm going to go ahead and chase this thing. And what I find, it's kind of like these road that has, the end of your purpose. The purpose isn't actually at the end of the road. What it is you're just getting up and chasing passions, and you kind of stumble into the pothole of your purpose. You literally just fall into it. And as an example, it's like my story. I literally, like, in my life, when I got done with the NFL, like in college, I'm like, I'm going to play in the NFL. I'm retired. I'm going to live my life off all that money I make. Right. First story. First thought of my purpose. Second one, toward my shoulder, I'm going to open this gym. I'm going to run this gym forever. I literally used to say, I'm going to retire from this thing. I'm going to be so old walking out of here. I'm going to retire from this gym. That was what I thought. Gave it all. Then I was like, you know what? I want to consult. Started consulting, making good money. I'm like, I'm going to just sit on the desk and consult and film videos. I'm going to do that. And then I happened Experts Academy. I'm going to speak. I'm going to go ahead and start just talking. I was like, I don't want to travel that much. And now it's like, I want to actually, in a way, like reach people this way, then go speak in time. And I really didn't know what anything was like purpose-wise for me until I legitimately had the situation where, like, my mom passed and I closed my gym and I ventured off into something new. And for me, the thing is like, that is exactly how it happened. It's kind of like, I would have never got to other points in my life. I would have never known about Burchard stuff if I didn't start consulting and like with the fire departments. I would have never been with the fire departments if I didn't open the gym. Would never open the gym if I didn't play football. And so what I did is every time something popped up, I just had the gumption to chase it. I trusted in my ability to solve the problem that I would have to approach later on, because I don't know what I'm going to run into, but I know that I trust that when I show up, I got it. Like, I don't care I don't know what it is, but I got it. And so when I have that mentality, you teach someone and you have that kind of perspective, you can chase whatever passion you want. And along that journey, you're going to stumble in this thing. You're like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize life could be this good. But you gotta have the ability to step up a little bit and just take that first little step into chasing a passion. I don't mean closing anything up and quitting your job. Your job should be an investor for your later ambitions, but you gotta like chase this little thing. And you honestly need to get help, because I have had a ton of coaches. I've spent over $300,000 in education, coaches, mentoring, and all that kind of stuff the last probably 4 years. And it's necessary. Like, without that, I'm nowhere near where I'm at now. Like, period. And so part of it's getting clarity on chasing a passion too, is getting somebody to help you shortcut the distance to that end result.
Yeah. And learning through other people's, mistakes in their journey, right? Like that it's a huge part. And, in terms of, just in terms of that everyone out there it might be at a place where an opportunity comes up. And I've done it before too, where it's like, you kind of like, you're looking for that perfect something. So you kind of say no to opportunities. And I always encourage people, it's like, I love those point A to point B to point C. Had this door not opened, this door wouldn't have opened this door. You got to embrace the journey and love the journey of it, because when you're so closed off and you just want this one thing and that's it, you might be missing out on the most incredible experiences or meeting somebody. If you're not present,
everything.
And you're miserable and you're constantly focused on something else, then you're missing out on the chance to maybe meet that person who might open a door. And I just think that the gifts that we're handed, because we're being present and we're being, we're able to like meet and connect with amazing human beings. Every time I've walked through the door, and I may not have even been like, I don't even know what this thing is I'm about to jump into, but it feels right, so I'm going to do it. And then it's like a door, like an amazing opportunity shows up, rather than being like closed off and closed-minded and just really stuck. There's something to be said with trusting the path, and like, our whole story connects together. It's so amazing. I always say it's magical. It's like,
and it is. And I think that's the hard part for some people, because some people are heart people, some people are head people. And I'm aware of that. You get people who are very hearty and they're hearing what you're saying now, like, I got to get this done. I can do this. The problem is heart people sometimes falter when it comes to rubber meeting the road.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, okay, I want to operate. I want to operate in a level of consistent, sustained motivation. It doesn't happen. Like, it doesn't. You wake up, there's going to be a day, if it hasn't happened yet, we're like, I'm going to wake up tomorrow and I'm going to take over the world. And tomorrow you wake up, we're like, snooze. I'm going, you don't want to get up. And then it's like, gosh, I don't feel like it today. And so what happens, because feel like it. And then they make great excuses to their friends, family members, themselves, to allow themselves to sleep at night, knowing every day they are cutting themselves short from experiencing and putting their vision into the world. Yeah. And then you got the other aspect of what it takes to get that done. It's action. And for people who are in a hard place, it's creating obligations that are tied to the end result of what you really want. You're having a clear-cut vision of where you're going, because then your heart's driven towards the end result, not just feeling good because you have an idea that might make sense. Mm. And then people that are heady people, they don't get pushed by the heart so much. They want to know. Right. And they want to wait till they know before they take a step. Like, I don't know this is going to work before I start moving. But the problem is, you're not going to know until you take the step. It's very backwards. But what you have to do is get out of your head and just go. You got to be like heart people got to be more heady for a moment. Head people got to be more hearty for a moment. And then what you'll find is, like, you'll start figuring out like that you just need different tools along each part of the journey. You're stuck where you're at now because you're missing a couple tools. And those tools you get through life experiences. And so what you do is you go to this little area. I don't have these tools. What tools I got to get? I figured out, okay, boom, I'm here now. And then you approach the next problem with the exact same mentality. I don't know what I need right now, but figure it out. Find that one tool. Okay, cool, I'm here. And now what happens is you rise up. You have less and less problems. I have less setbacks right now than ever. And it's not because of anything more than I went through a whole bunch of crazy ones. And I just kept moving in the right direction. And that's something where you start trusting that. And what you'll find is that little success leads to this trust. And like, you know what, I can figure this out, and just keep having that be the thing that wakes you up and move a little bit closer and a little bit closer. And then all of a sudden it's like, gosh, I'll take on anything right about now, and I'm going to figure it out.
Awesome. So you're talking about the business that you opened up, right? Your gym.
Yeah.
Some of the big lessons. Again, there's so many people out there that, either have the dream to like open up something. They're
Yeah.
like, I want to move. I want to be an entrepreneur. I want something of my own. And might not have a clear picture of what it's like to truly, and you is brick and mortar, right? Like you open
Yeah.
something up physically. So what
Yeah.
some tips, some thoughts, some life lessons you want to share?
No, I'm kidding. No, what I would say is, so there's the aspect of business. You've heard of the E-myth, right? There's the
Yeah.
person's a visionary, and there's a person in between, the manager and the technician. I'm a very visionary technician person, manager person in between. That's not me. Like my wife's good at that. I'm not the best at that. I'll be first to tell you. But what happens in opening a business is you got to be a little bit of all of them, at least to be safe about something. I think what most people should do is start incredibly simple, because most people want to go super big and go crazy large, and you don't need to at first. When you're a new brand, if you're clean and you give incredible customer service, you'll be able to figure out how to get everything organized and modified. And then from there, you can take on the next level at the right pace you're supposed to. I'm not saying go slow and kind of like, not take that big leap. If you want to take a leap, but be prepared for repercussions if you fail. That's pretty much it. When it comes to a brick and mortar spot, like there's a lot more tactical stuff. That's a loaded question. But I think one, you have to make sure you don't lead into a brick and mortar type situation with your heart. I've done it. I get emotionally connected to a space. I can vision what it's going to be. And I know I'll find a way to pay the bills. No. You've got to be the absolute most frivolous at that moment in time. You got to try to get the rent as cheap as you can, get the best deal you can, and go at like bare bones to get it done. And here's why. If you have an amazing heart, which if you're in that mindset like we're talking about, you want to create something, the worst thing you can do is to put it into the world and then have the whole thing ripped away from the world at some point.
100%.
You're going to go in and create, like I had a gym and I almost went bankrupt like 3 times. And I realized that if this gym closes, the way it's about to close, if it's ripped from me, where are all these people going to go that they call home here? Where are these kids going to go that we're training? Where are these moms going to go when they finally feel like they're accepted in some place? Where are these guys going to go where they feel like they got a crew? Like, you're not creating, whenever you have a business, you're not creating a product. You're creating an experience for somebody's life. And if you put this experience into the world and you rip it away, that's on you, and that's not okay. And so your duty is not to your emotions. Your duty is to the emotion of the people you'll help in doing whatever you're doing. I don't know if it's a hair salon, you open up a place to sell diamond necklaces. I don't care what you do. But if you're going to put this into the world, it's your duty to be smart enough and keen on the numbers enough to where when you put it out there, it's going to be there for a while.
Yeah, I can't stress that enough. Even just really having a strong business plan to really understand the backbone foundation of your business, because you're right, some people lead with head, some people lead with heart, and it's important to kind of meet halfway. And then there's this other side, which is kind of building out an online business where obviously there's a lot of even people within my tribe who have MLMs who are, or building out their own brand online. And that too, just being really mindful of setting yourself up for success. But so in terms of for yourself with the gym, what model are you moving into now? What does life look like now in terms of business?
Yeah. So before I was a slave to my gym, legit was a slave. And I got to this point where I had to be there, and I didn't like my career. I loved what I got to do, but what I had to do to keep it going, to keep it alive was crazy. I was having to pay $27,000 a month for overhead and trainers. And it was just nuts. So I closed it, and I went to consult, and I started speaking. And then recently I realized in my area that people need what I have. They need that kind of place that's like a second home. And I wanted a place like that also because I love people. And I'd missed that. For 6 years of my life, I had a place I could go with employees, having clients, just having time, and it was gone. I missed that. And so I reopened this place, but when I reopened the gym, I was smart about the numbers. So I negotiated a super ridiculous low rent compared to what most people are having to pay. The model was based upon little involvement from me, but maximum experience for my clients. And so the way that the place is organized and run, I have great staff that do classes and stuff when I'm not there and train. The place is kept clean by a cleaning company that comes in. It's a 24-hour access facility, but you have access to specific equipment with a moderated size of the clientele. So we don't let just every person come get a membership and train there. It's a place, it's a community. And so this model now allows me to not have to ever be there. Like last month I was like gone for a week and a half and it was completely fine, run smooth. I have cameras, like I have these cameras that I can see the gym at all times on my phone. Like I can always tap in and I can see right now that's closed, nobody's there. Like that's what happens. And so I run it that way. So the model I created was not fully about me, but fully about my clients, in a sense of like, I wanted to create a great experience for them, but in doing so, not give a burden to me. So I could have, the thought of like, this has got to be there for a while. So right now it's self-sustained and it's good.
So cool. And I love how it's like combined with all the experiences and lessons that you've learned along the way. Like now you have this new baby that's like,
Right.
it works for you. It works for your life. And I'm sure, so in terms of, your brand, like how else can people reach you? Like, what does it look like? Yeah.
So one thing I had to realize was that the aspect of the statement, trust your hustle, isn't always clear for people. I've done a lot of fitness business coaching. I've done, website design, funnel creation, Facebook ads. I've a little bit of everything. I have videography. Like all these weird things I do for my own business that people are like, oh, could you help me? So I started doing that coaching. And then I started realizing I love the heart. I love helping people from the mental aspect of the heart of what they got going on, and not just from a motivational standpoint. Because I could sit here and I could really like craft a story and make you like get these nuggets of like really like, oh, I'm inspired and go crazy and jump on the bed over here and like, all right. But then what happens is you go home and one day, next day, the day after, you wake up, you're like, okay, where'd that energy go? And what do I do now? And so I realized that for me, one of the most important things for me is a legacy I want to leave, which is going to be not something that you can just accidentally have happen. It's got to come from tactical like strategy of how I put myself in this world. And so what I realized is people need not only motivation, but structure and guidance. And I had to really clarify what trust your hustle meant. And what I've realized for me in my life, it's people sometimes want to know about the things I do. Like, okay, how does your gym run? How'd you get American Ninja Warrior? How'd you play in the NFL? Like, how'd you do all these things? But what most people really want to know outside of that is like, dude, how did you go from here to there? Like how did you, start in foster care and end up in the NFL or speak on stages in front of two? Like how? And it was always this thing. It was like, I don't know, I just, kind of like laid out what I've done. And I really didn't get what they were asking. They were asking like, dude, help me. That's the right to help me do that. And it's not just in a business. It's in marriages. It's in your fitness. And what it really is if you have one set of habits or principles you operate in one area of your life and you see how they work and they work well, you'll learn to adapt them to other places. That's all I have is a good set of habits and disciplines. That's pretty much it. And a really keen and weird perspective on the world based on me living through a bunch of craziness. Yeah. And so what I did is I stepped back and said, I'm going to create something that allows people to get my mindset, my perspective, and tactically put into their lives, and also have these, systems, habits they can adapt to themselves and apply it in one area that can flood their entire life and get more done in 6 weeks than they do in 6 months. Like really to go from a place of dreaming to doing something. And so I created what's called Thrive. And Thrive, the actual back end, the E is actually a 3. And the reason it's a 3 is because Trust Your Hustle has those sacrifice, sustain stages, those 3 stages. And so in this program, I go through those 3 separate stages with people, and it allows them to step in and say, okay, I'm gonna understand more about my tall tale. I call it the tall tales. What tall tale have you told yourself? It's so tall you can't get over it, right? How do you tear that down, rebuild a new one, get into the place where you honestly own the situations that you've been in? Because the C phase we talked about is like seeing what your challenges and setbacks have been. Sometimes it's an area of where you feel shame for not having accomplished something, maybe not holding up your word or something you did wrong. And so understanding how to prospectively switch that area of your brain to where you can see, okay, cool, this is what held me back and I'm not going to let it hold me back anymore. And the next day is like, what do I see I can pursue? What's this next area that I can actually go after? And then from there, we go into this sacrifice area. And the sacrifice piece is one that's more of centering like on like, what's your why? Why are you doing this? The big thing is what's your center? Like this is one that I think is incredibly important for people. It's what I had to shift out of. Is imagine coming home from the NFL, all you do was football, and you have to get yourself through this new world. And all I was centered on was, I'm Anthony, the football player. So I'm not Anthony, the football player. It's not like, oh, I just don't know my job. It's like, I don't know who I am. And when you get to that place, if you put your center in money, like if you have money, you're somebody. If you don't have money, you're not a good person. Or, if I have a good job, this is my center. Like if your center is your job or your money or a relationship, when you lose a relationship, it's like, who am I? And so to take that center and understand how to put it back on yourself and understand how you can do that without harming other people. Because people are like, well, I love the family. My family's my center, right? Yeah, but if you're pouring from an empty cup, you're hurting your family. So
Yeah.
understanding how that is dialed in. And once we get to that level of understanding what sacrifices you need to stop making and what ones you need to start making, which is understanding how to organize, honestly, your month, your week, and your day. Like when you can understand how to have like a great daily design, I don't mean like morning routine, like it's part of it, but understand how to where you're I'll get that dream, but that's like a 15, 20 hour thing. I can't do that. I'll find a day when I have 15, 20 hours. No, you understand how to segment your day in a unique way to where you can enjoy your life, but then maybe you take off like 15 minutes, 20 minutes a day. Well, if you put a half hour a day of just working this little vision, well, at the end of the week, you got, something like, 2.5 hours, 3.5 hours. Well, at the end of a month, you're going to have more. And like, you make it like 15 hours a month. 15 hours is something. But you have to understand how to put that into your day to start working towards it. And so that's what I do in my own life. That's what I start teaching people is like, this is how you do it. Next, you're like, you pop up, you're like, oh my gosh, I got more done this week. Like I got done all of last month. Like how did it happen? It's all by a structure. And then the back end, it's more of understanding what things affect your sustainability. It's not just having the idea of, I want to sustain this. It's what you have to put into your life structurally. A lot of it's people, understanding what's called developing your dream team, like how to get new people in, kick people off, like in a unique way that I use.
Totally.
It's your health, it's your perspective on like a bigger future, and it's revisiting certain aspects of what you started with in the C phase to see again where you're at, and that's how you sustain over time. And so Thrive for me is something where I actually have that curriculum available in the course. I have on top of that like a community aspect, and I have a coaching program, which is where I go in and we go through this and I'm your coach. Like me or the coach that I have assigned to you, like we don't allow excuses. Not that I don't love on people, but I love people enough to not let them fail.
Totally.
I think some people, they have too many yes people in their life where it's like, oh, it's okay, I'll get it done next week. Like I'm going to love you enough to tell you what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. Not because of anything more than I know what you're capable of. My job is to shove you a little bit to get you moving so you can say, oh, okay, I am capable of that. And so that's pretty much it. If people want, the way that the whole thing starts to figure out what your Thrive type is, which is based off the Trust Your Hustle Success Grid. If you go to trustyourhustle.com, you can actually go there, take the quiz, and it'll give you a kick out and a report on what your Thrive type is, whether you're surviving, hopeful, foolish, or thriving, and understanding what that means about you, because it does have a specific meaning based upon where your belief in self is, or your work ethic is, or your inability to believe in yourself. Like you'll see where you're at, and I'll be able to give you a kind of real succinct, poignant aspect of like what that means about you.
Awesome. Honestly, you guys have to go out there and check it out. And yeah, I can't say enough. Like, this conversation here right now is so needed. There's so many people who I'm always like, every day is like a day that's gone, you don't get that time back. Right. And it's the one asset that we have that like once it's gone, and too many people living for tomorrow, next week, next month, I'll do that some other time. And it's like, no, like you said, it comes down to the habits and the disciplines that we have in our life and our intentionality,
Yeah. I mean, my mom passed at 47, and it's something where like I'm 33 now. I got, a 13-year-old son. Like I got, 11-year-old twin or 8-year-old twins. And it's like, for me, I look at it this way. My mom passed at 47. I'm 33. For a moment, everybody who's listening, think about how fast your life has gone till now. Just to think about, like, for me, like, I feel like I remember high school was last year, And if you think about it, if my mom passed at that age, I could be here for less time than I've already been here. But for me, it's like, damn, I don't have time to waste. Like there's no time to waste. In fact, they say that people will have 5,000 Saturdays, I think, or something like that in their lifetime. Like you don't get a whole lot of days. There's 28, I think we live 28,000 days in your lifetime.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. So people sit back and say, yeah, it sounds good. I heard the message. I know someone right now is going to watch this and like, oh, they're going to tune off and go to sleep. But the statistics show that if you don't do something in a moment of inspiration, you're going to eventually fail. Like if you don't get support or get help or get on some plan of support, you're literally going to wake up and be farther back. And I'm not saying this just because it sounds good as I'm a coach. I was just talking to somebody who said this, a guy named Russ. They did a whole study, took 100 of his clients and the people he'd been communicating with, off from a coaching program. 20 took it. 20 people said, I don't want it. 60 people said, I'll revisit it later on. And so what he did is he sent an email back out 6 months later. The people that 20 were with him were all improving. the 20 didn't want anything. Obviously they weren't doing much, they just said I didn't want it, but everybody else was farther back. They did surveys. They were actually either the same place or someone declined a year later. They'd all declined. They were more unhappy. They were depressed. They hadn't got any goals met. And it's not something that's rocket science. It's like, just get help. Like people think, oh, I can't get help until, I'm at a certain level. It's like saying, you know what, I'm not going to climb the mountain until I climb the mountain. Like, it's not how it works. Like you have to start to get good. Like it's a matter of understanding. Like you're going to start from a place of not knowing, but it's much easier when you get decision-making mode. Most people get stuck in a place of like, what do I do next? And they stay there for years.
I talk to my tribe about that all the time. We talk about one step forward is better than nothing at all. Action is action, right? Like everything at the end of the day comes down to the action that we take. And to your point, when you talk about, the ones who were like, oh, I'll revisit this later. It doesn't feel good when you go to bed at night and you realized you wasted a whole other day. Do you know what I mean? Like we don't feel good about ourselves. When you're not clear and you don't know what that step is, you don't feel good about yourself, and so we're setting ourselves up for failure. And so, to Anthony's point, you're out there and you're like, you have a desire, something's not right, reach out to somebody, one of us, you know what I mean? Like just make a move, take a step, at least acknowledge it, and because we are handed the most incredible gift, which is our life. And our tool, like we have the most incredible tool. We treat other things better than we treat our own body. You know what I mean? Like it just is baffling sometimes, right?
It really is. I mean, people's words aren't congruent with their actions. And I think it's because people don't have something that's a big enough yes in their life.
Yeah.
Like people always like, well, I got distracted. I went here. And what ends up being is you're going, and everybody at some point set a goal, something in their life. And then somebody else in life came along and said, hey, can you do this? And we said, oh yeah, we could do that. And I get to a lot with like women that I work with is like their moms and their wives. And I fully understand, like my wife, if I ask for help, she's going to help me. But I'm keen on the awareness of this aspect is she has something she already said yes to for herself. Like she has, her workout, whether it's her business or it's, go spend time with her friends. Like she's already said yes to this. So if I ask her something and she says yes to it, she now has to say no to something she already said yes to. And we do this all the time. We say, well, I want to lose weight. Well, then you got to say no when your friend says, let's go to the Buffalo Wild Wings. Like, let's have some beers. Like, it's like, let's skip a workout. No, I am not going to say yes to that because I already said yes to this. And when you can anchor down what this yes is and why, it actually becomes easier to tell somebody no, because most people are afraid to tell a friend or somebody no because they're going to have to explain why they're saying no. So if you've already got this thing dialed in, it's like, this is my huge yes. When somebody says, you want to go, you say, no, why not? Come on, because friends keep bugging. Come on, let's just go. No, I can't. Quit being like that. Let's just go. No, I can't. Well, why? Because this is where I want to be in life. And this is the vision I have for myself. And if you aren't in line with that and are helping me get there, then you don't belong in my life in the first place. I love you, but I need you to go ahead and give me a breather just for a little bit to let me do what I want to do in life and then celebrate it with me, like when that time comes. Because typically if you have a vision to go something higher, the people around you, they can go to the same level with you, but it's going to be a matter of either having them come with you or leaving them by the wayside and finding new people, but that becomes their choice.
Yeah.
You have to feel bad about cutting somebody off. And I think that's what some people struggle with is, I don't want to be mean to Susan. I don't want to be mean to Tim. I don't want to cut these people off. It's like, give them the option. Like, look, I want to go here in my life. I tell people it's the business aspect of life. If you have a company and you have this aspiration to have this big, amazing company, like I have companies, like I have employees, and in these employees I have, what I've realized is they are there to help the company go to the company's level of goals, like whether it's to make more money or make more reach, whatever it is. And I pay that person. They have a specific job, so to speak, to do that thing. And if they aren't doing their thing, what do? I call them in the office, like, look, you're here to help the company go here. This is your specific job. Your job's to sweep the floors or to open the door and train people, whatever it might be, right? And if you can't do that, I can't have you around. I want you to do it. But if you have a decision not to, then that's fine. But this is what needs to be done or you're not going to get here. Now it's their choice whether they do that effort or not. If they don't, it's fine. The same thing happens in life. You have a person in your life that's supposed to be your spouse, supposed to be your best friend, supposed to be your consultant or your coach, right? They have jobs in your life for the company to go to its aspirational goal. And if those people aren't doing their part, their role, you sit down and talk to them like, look, I want to go here. And I would love to have you here with me. I love you. If I didn't love you, I wouldn't have this conversation. But if you can't do this, just let me know. And then that's fine. And it's your decision to step away. But just know I need this from you.
Yeah.
Now you can take a step back and it's in their court. So you don't have to feel bad about moving on. You've given them a choice, and what you've done is helped two people improve. Because if you go with them, you're coming down, they're not getting better. But if you do this, you keep rising. And now you give them a chance to say, wow, they're going somewhere. Maybe I want to go with them. You give an opportunity to rise two lives.
I love it. And I just think that, why not have a high bar for yourself, for other people, you know what I mean? And I mean, I know a lot of people struggle with sometimes just getting pulled down. You get pulled into energy strong too, people who just are not always in the best mindset, who don't have, who aren't positive, who just, it's really up to you to decide what you want in your life. And
Yeah.
just so amazing. So, just thinking, just kind of like wrapping it up in terms of, I want you to think back to you as like a little boy. What
Yeah.
would you tell yourself,
Mm.
at that time? What would you say to Anthony?
Man, I've had that question before, and I wish I had a very philosophical, crazy, amazing answer. I'd say, stop it. No. You know what? I mean, here's a story about how bad of a kid I was. And maybe this will make sense in a while. I'll tell you what I would tell myself then. I had this thing where every single grade, I got to the point where I would be so bad that every teacher would be red-faced, screaming in my face. I could feel their hot breath on my face. It was just bad because I was just that bad. And I got to this point in class, I think it was like fourth grade, where my vice principal had to get involved. What about this thing? I'm 6 little boxes. And if I could get a star in each box, I would get a whole brand new payday candy bar. And I love paydays at the time. And so this was going to be the entire year. She's like, think about it. If you can go the entire year, you're going to have like 180 something paydays. I'm like, yeah, right. All I got to do is just be good for the day. If that's simple. I'm bad, like not smack somebody, not talk loud, not throw things. Like this is what would account for a star being removed, not just simple talking. I had to do bad stuff. And I never got a candy bar.
Oh.
Not once. Not even a pity candy bar. Not once. And looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, I commend the teachers who put up with me. So what I would do is go back in that moment in time, and I think what it was that made me be that as I was seeking attention. Mm. And I think what I would tell myself is like, you don't need anybody to look at you. Just look at yourself.
Wow.
Like I think for me, like I was all everybody, like I wanted attention from my real mom. I wanted attention from my foster parents. I wanted attention from the teacher. I never got that. And I was always seeking this outside. Again, my center for self-worth was outside of myself at that time. So I caused havoc on everybody around me. And so for me, what I would do is go back, like, dude, you don't need everybody to look at you. Just look at yourself. Enjoy your life. Like, be who you are. Like, I think I would have turned it around much earlier. I eventually did. Like, I eventually wised up. I think sports is a huge part of it. But I think that was what young me was missing, was just feeling like I would matter. But I didn't comprehend, like, I already do matter. Like, I have a life. Like, I have a possibility, because I can move my thumbs and speak and talk. Like, I have the capabilities. We all do. Like, I look at my mom, and my mom, when she passed, she had spent, 16 years in a wheelchair. She physically couldn't do anything. But if we are able to, as human beings, realistically, like, we can walk and talk and run, like, dude, what are we doing? Not like joyously exploring craziness in life. My mom, so many dreams died with her because her body wouldn't let her move. But we can right now do something that's amazing, that like brings chills to us and makes our just this cup be full, and we don't. And it's weird to me. I can't comprehend the fact that it's like say I have this cup, and this cup I can fill it all the way to the top with pumpkin chai lattes from Starbucks, because I love those. I'm just gonna go ahead and put that out there, right? But what happens is we keep having this cup be like a quarter full or a half full, when the cup can be full, but we're choosing not to fill the cup. Why would you not fill the cup up? It's a cup that has the ability to be full. So if you can, like, perspectively say, I'm kind of happy, a little bit happy. There's not like I'm happy and I'm unhappy. There's a massive gray area. And people are always like just pretty much not unhappy. And it's not good. So why not fill the damn cup up? Find a way to go out and chase something crazy random and like see if you can get that pumpkin chai latte to overflow, baby. I
love it. And it comes down to choice too, right? So it's been such an honor to have you on. I'm super grateful, and just getting to know your story even more. So thank you so
Very
much
welcome
for jumping on with us.
Yeah.
All right.